Welcome back to the Fuel Your Legacy podcast. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a newer, stronger foundation essential in creating your meaningful legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. As much as you like this podcast, I'm certain that you're going to love the book that I just released on Amazon, Fuel Your Legacy, The 9 Pillars to Build a Meaningful Legacy. I wrote this to share with you the experiences that I had while I was identifying my identity, how I began to create my meaningful legacy, and how you can create yours. You're going to find this book on Kindle, Amazon, and as always on my website, samknickerbocker.com. Welcome back to the Fuel Your Legacy show. And today is the client edition. I love these editions because I get to talk to my friends, the people that I've actually worked with and been able to serve and help them in their life become more of who they want to become. And today it is with Michael Radcliffe. Now, if you don't know Michael Radcliffe, you should find him on LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't know, where are you? Facebook. I met him on
everywhere.
LinkedIn. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
But what's really important is he works. Do you already have a brand for your team?
Not yet. Well, right now it's the Radcliffe Mortgage Group, but it'll probably change. But right now it's the Radcliffe Mortgage Group.
Radcliffe Mortgage Group. Anyways, He's a stud. If you're anywhere in Arizona and want help with getting any sort of home mortgage loan, then you should reach out to him because he can help you. And he's going to destroy this other team in his company, and you should be a part of it because it's all about the movement, creating a legacy,
destroying other legacies.
And destroying other legacies, right? Well, isn't that how most legacies are built anyways? By challenging the status quo and doing it better, bigger, and more efficient with more person and ability. So the one thing I've worked with a lot of different loan officer professionals, and really there's very few that get back to me as quick as Michael does. And that's a big compliment. I think if you've worked with a loan officer, then you know it can be frustrating if you're like, well, are they ever going to call me back? Do I have to annoy the crap out of them? There's always going to be a truth to squeaky wheel gets the grease, but he's really good at making sure he gets back to you in a timely manner. So I appreciate that about you. I'm curious. So when we first met, what was the circumstances? Because we met on LinkedIn. What was your first impression of me from LinkedIn?
Well, for me, respect. It's funny because it's all about what that person's experience has been with whether it's a drip campaign or reaching out through social media, a cold call. Because I've been there, I guess I just respect that. You know what I mean? Like when people reach out, we get them all the time. If you're in the financial industry, you're going to get phone calls, messages, LinkedIn messages all the time saying, "Hey, are you open to changing?" or "You want to do this in my business?" Blah blah. But yeah, you were just straight up. You're just like, "Hey, looking to help with your legacy, blah blah." And it happened to be a great time for me, but also I was like, you know what, this guy's hustling. He deserves at least conversation because I want the same thing if I was in his shoes.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. It turned into a good conversation for both of us, I think. But after meeting me and having us go through the process of really organizing your legacy and how you want to move forward, help you see how some of your goals you could hit a little bit sooner, and have honestly just more peace in the whole situation of moving forward. What was your experience from when you first met me versus to what it is now? Would you say it's on par with what you expected, better, worse? And no, you can be honest, right? If you think it's worse, just let
it was the worst experience. No, it was awesome. It is better because here's the thing. I was in a position where I was super stressed. You know, I have 2 kids. I'm married. I'm balancing that. I'm balancing building a business. I'm balancing, finances, everything else. Like you're balancing a lot of stuff. You're trying to build this legacy. And I'm I consider myself a professional mortgage loan officer. And I'm not a professional legacy builder, if you will. Like I recognize that I need help and assistance with that. And so, yeah, like now at this point, I don't even think about it. Like, I just know that I have someone that is helping me with my legacy, building it and growing it to what I want it to be when I'm older, and to support my kids, now and when I pass. That's the goal with everyone, right? Taking care of your family. So yeah, it's awesome. My attention is on my family, my business, and I know that my legacy is being built with your help.
Yeah, and what I like about this is in all areas of life at some point, and we've had personal conversations about this. We've both tried or talked about how to get a good assistant and how long it takes to actually find somebody who you can trust and that's going to create a good environment. We can talk more about that, just that process. I'd like to, but more importantly, learning that you just need to focus on what you're good at and leave all the other stuff to other professionals who are good at what they're good at. That is one of the biggest, in my experience, working with entrepreneurs across the board. That is one of the biggest hurdles. And I fall prey to it still, because I don't even think about that. One, I'm not good at something. It's like a thought that doesn't really cross my mind very much. Or like, I recognize I'm not good at it, but I'm like, how hard can it be? Right. I'm that confident in my own skills. I think, oh, how hard can it be? I'll just figure it out. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I know you try when you're first in business and you're like growing a team, you're like, there's no one out there that can do it like me. There's just no one. And not like I'm the best, but you just feel like you have a system down, it's working, you're obviously growing your business. You're like, how can I find someone that will match it? Forget that. It's too much work. They'll probably screw it up or they won't answer phone calls, but there's a lot of great people out there. So yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So how did you get into your current positioning in the industry? Because you were in the industry for a while. What even got you into the industry from the very beginning? What caused you to even start working at the bank or credit union you were at?
So I was 22, I think, 23, when I was at this random job, dude, like fixing Xbox 360s and managing eBay. Dude, it was so random. Managing like eBay stores. It was a great experience. I was there for about 3 years. But, after a while, I was like, I'm getting paid next to nothing. I have zero growth opportunity. This is legit just a job to have a job. And, I'm going to ASU. I'm like, I need to start, build my legacy pretty much. And so I just heard about a credit union. I just figured, hey, they're a good job. It looks like there's a lot of growth there. I can branch out to a lot of different departments. So I'll just give it a shot. And so I just went to the credit union and became a bank teller. And man, I got bit by the financial bug or something. I got obsessed. Like I was so, and still am, fascinated by the financial industry. How it works and moves, it's incredible. So I just got really into that. And then I moved into being a banker from there and also recognized how, stupid competitive I am, almost to a fault. Like, it's a sales game at the credit union. So I was just like, this guy's selling more than me? No, there's no way. And so I would literally take home worksheets from the credit union and study the products. I was a nerd with it. I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I got it. So I was so obsessed, but I started to realize this is a passion. This is actually fun. This isn't even who brings home work stuff to study, man? That's crazy. But it was to me, it was a hobby. This is actually a lot of fun. And so as a banker, I did second mortgages, business accounts, just a variety of stuff. But mortgages really caught my attention for some reason. One thing that was on my mind as a banker was I was sitting there at my desk and said, okay, I'm helping people with their personal accounts, business accounts, getting them set up with appointments for financial advisement, will and trust, etc. I'm doing a good thing. I'm really helping their legacy in a small way, right? And so I started thinking after a couple of years, what can I do to be an even bigger part of that? I want to be that guy I set up appointments for, right? That's a big deal. I want to be that person to help them. It just feels good. And so I was toying with the mortgage industry or advisement at my company, and I took the mortgage route just through some connections. They put me this way, and man, I have not looked back. I've been doing it for about, I think it's been 8 years, and so I did that at the credit union as a loan officer, where they just feed you leads. And I was single at the time, no kids, so I was insanely addicted to work. That's all I did. That
hasn't changed. Let's be honest.
That's true. Yes, I just have a little bit better balance now because I have to. I have a family.
Slightly, because he has a wife who loves him. Right, yeah. Kids. It's slightly better.
Best life ever. So I did that for about 4 years at the credit union, and you don't really create a team at a credit union. You just build your business. You kind of just build up loans as fast as you can. That's really the name of the game. Pick up the phone and convert leads and help people buy and sell or buy and refinance. But after a while, I was like, I started figuring out my own way of getting a mortgage done. And I was just like, well, I was a team lead, so I was progressing, but I just said, I can't really make a change here. I have to be CEO to make a change here. And I don't want to do that. Or if I did, I'd be like 50, right? And so started talking to people, interviewing with other companies, and realized what was out there. I was pretty naive at the time. And I learned that you could create your own team at another company. And so as scary as it was, I left my pipeline. I literally left my book of business. People think that sound crazy, but I had signed a contract. I'm sure they would have never known. I was trying to do it with a clean conscience, and I just left my books back. And there were thousands of people that I could have called for refinancing this year, but I knew that I would regret that. So I left. My wife was pregnant. I left the job. I went to a job where I was 100% commission. Like, I can make no money, and that would be awful. But I just said, I got to do this. My wife was super on board too. So had some faith, left to another company, and I started cold calling realtors, calling some family and friends, spreading the word, and just very, very slowly growing a business, getting my own processor, etc. And now I'm here at Nova Home Loans with the Radcliffe Mortgage Group, building up a business. I have a group of realtors that I work with, and it is like the best feeling on the planet to be able to direct a team in such a way that when people work with us, they have such a great experience. I mean, how many times have you heard someone say like, oh, I bought a house, but I'll never do that again. Oh, the paperwork sucked. Like, that was so annoying. Like, it shouldn't be like that. It doesn't have to. Like, my clients, when they finish, are like, Mike, that was awesome. I'm a homeowner. Like, dude, heck yeah, you are. Like, this is huge. Like, that's a huge step for your legacy. So yeah, that's where I am today.
I love it. So I have some things that I want to highlight, but I want to go back before we get too deep in there. I want to highlight something that we didn't talk about, but we off air have talked about in the past. And I don't need you to disclose any personal information here, but if we're talking ratios, like 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 5, whatever, because there's going to be people who listen to this who probably are stuck in the dead end credit union job, thinking that they're crushing it, thinking they're on top of the world. They're the number one
100%.
person in the state at that. And they just are oblivious to how much better life could be with the same or less amount of work, better it could be financially for their family. And it's not because they aren't great. It's because people are either intentionally or unintentionally not sharing with them what life could be. So I want you to share with them kind of a ratio. If I made $100 on a loan at a credit union, what would I make on the same loan in the private sector or taking the risk? Because the reality is there's some people who, even if they know the truth or know that there's more money, they like the security of having leads. So
I argue that too. I'll look at that point. I think it's less security, but keep going.
Well, I would agree with you. It's less security, but in their minds, they think it's more security to have, hey, I just show up, I clock in, I clock out. Like, it's easy to keep my work in a little box where, you know, where you're at right now, work doesn't live in a box. Work lives 24/7. And yes, you have your family. Yes, you have your kids. But if somebody is calling and it's a matter of closing a piece of business or not, you're doing it. Right. So we understand that that's part of being an entrepreneur. There's some people who just don't like that, and they would rather be at a lower income having their life in a box. So I understand that there's those people, but there are people who are living in this box purely, and they think they're crushing in this box, but only because they're unaware that there's another way to be. So what's like the income difference? Same level of volume, loans being closed, dollars being funded, whatever, same level of volume. What's the difference in pay rate?
You will make 3 to 5 times your annual income. That's simple as that. If a loan officer, like you said, the $100 ratio, he can make $300 to $500 per loan doing his own. And this is why you're gonna grow a team, but that's true. But it gets better than that, because if you did get into a branch position, if you did get into some of these other positions that would take a lot longer potentially at a credit union, the spreads that you make on a team in the private sector versus the credit union sector, you can make way more than just
3 to 5 times more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm making sure because we're on a podcast, to be honest.
Sure.
Because it's such a general thing, but yes.
And I want it to be general. I don't want any specific numbers here because that's not what we're trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is your pay, by definition of somebody else signing your paychecks, for lack of a better word, you're underpaid. And if you're willing to take those same skill sets, same knowledge set, and go out and be willing to risk, right? And you and I would both agree that it's more secure outside than inside, but from their perspective, it's a risk. So willing to risk that you have to go nurture your own relationships with realtors, nurture your own whatever, your own product providers, because it's not just loans. It could be selling store stuff at the grocery store, whatever.
On that point, real quick, that is hard. Like, calling realtors is not fun. It's one of my most, literally, if you say, Michael, what's your one of the like top 5 pet peeves in your life, not just work, easily top 5, calling a realtor, cold call. I hate it. It's the worst. Like, because you get like, cuss you out. What do you want from me? I have a lender. It's monotonous. Now, there's a lot of ways to get realtors. When you first start out, you think that's all you can do to get realtors is call. I learned there's a lot of other ways, way more effective. My point in saying that is it's so hard, but if anyone listening to this is sitting down and you look back on your greatest achievements, was it easy or was it hard? It's going to be really hard. The harder it is, the more rewarding and satisfying that will be in the end. So I have a buddy at a credit union I used to work at. He won't leave. The guy produces so many loans and he's too scared. He's like, no, hourly pay, blah, blah. He thinks he's so secure, which I'd argue he's not secure. He's less secure than me. But he won't do it. He's like, I don't want to call realtors. And then I was like, dude, like, look what you can create though. I know it's hard, but anyways, I can't get into it. So it's just making me crazy because his potential is like through the roof. But people get so scared. And when you're ready, I do want to touch on like, what is security? So I want to talk about that. But first, let's talk about this realization that you came to, because I think this is crucial for a lot of people. It happened to me as well. I wasn't working in the gaming industry or fixing Xboxes, because what you guys got to know about Michael is he's actually passionate about gaming. He loves gaming, and he competes. I was down there. He's like, oh, I got to be done by this time because I got a Mario Kart competition. I'm like, what the heck is a Mario Kart competition, right? So understand, e-gaming is a thing, but there comes a time in your life, for most people, that you realize, hey, this is what I'm doing. And even if you're world class at it, it's not necessarily the legacy that you want to leave. It's not necessarily how you want to be remembered. It's not necessarily what you want to be, the change you want to be creating in the world. Not that it's a bad change and not that somebody shouldn't be doing it, but it's just internally, it's not how I want to be doing it in the future. And so it's not necessarily that fixing the Xboxes were bad. Yes, you weren't getting paid very much, but guess what? I know people who own the shops who fix those things, and they're able to make plenty of money. So it's not that he couldn't have been successful fixing Xboxes. Yeah. He could have been if he wanted to, but he chose to go do something that was more meaningful, learn a new skill, and do something that's more meaningful. So talk about that a little bit of what that process was like in your mind. Like, why would you really leave that if you're so passionate about it? If you could become world class at it, why not just stay there? So it's like it's weird. It's almost like it dawned on me. It's weird. Like I'm like, I want to be productive in everything I do. I'm like, I have such a hard time doing something if it's not producing any like growth of some sort, I guess. I've noticed that about myself. Like, I don't know, like, I guess as a kid I used to like sit and just veg out on a movie and stuff all day, and like, I don't care what I'm doing. I could be degressing in life, but it's just fun and exciting, being lazy. I don't know, it's weird. Like, when I was at that job, I was like, hey, like, I'm not really growing too much in this job. Like I want to feel that I'm creating something. I gotta get that feeling and know, like, hey, I'm on this earth for a very short period of time, honestly, right? Like, no matter how long, 50, 70, 80, it's a short period of time, goes by fast. And I want to be able to look back and like, I did something great. Like, I put forth my best foot forward, and I really tried, right? A lot of people, and again, there's nothing wrong with doing, a job that may pay you less, but as long as you know that you're making a difference in the world for yourself and for your family, I think that's so important. And so I feel like that was my mindset. Like, as I progressed, from a teller to a banker, to a law officer. The whole reason of doing that is because I knew that I was helping someone. As a teller, I was helping someone balance their account. Very small scale, right? Banker, a little bit bigger. And I felt it. I was like, I'm helping someone. And you see on their faces, like, thanks, Mike. We really appreciate it. Versus like, thanks for catching my check. Right? It was like, thanks for this account. This is awesome. And then it became like literally like, Michael, my dreams have come true. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And someone's like, almost in tears, Michael, I'm a homeowner. Thank you so much. I'm like, yes, you are very welcome. Like, that feels amazing. And I always chase that.
So do you do it for yourself, for your own self-gratification, or do you do it for them?
That's a good question. Because it's funny because when I think about what you said, I actually thought you were going to ask yourself, your family. So I was ready to answer for my family. So everything that I do, my motivation is two things. For my family, first and foremost, and for that person I'm helping, truthfully, and not here at my desk. You know what? I'll give you a good example. I can make more money elsewhere. If I want to make more money as a loan officer, I could. I go to a broker and make probably twice the percentage on the per loan if I wanted to, right? I could also, there's places where you can adjust your commission. I can sell higher rates and they can make tons of money, but I choose not to do that because I know I'm a blessing to that family. I know that I make the money I'd like to make, but giving them an amazing deal. So my family is my first motivation. I go to work and I wake up every day with my wife and kids. That pushes me every day. And then second is the people I'm helping because I know I'm helping their families and I know what they're going through. So those are my two motivations.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about this security conversation and what is your definition of security and why do you feel you're more secure where you are now than you were before?
Security equals control. That is exactly what it is. Security is control. Why I say that is because at a credit union or bank, they can cut you any second and you have no control of that. They can say, hey, we don't have enough business or whatever, you're done, bye. Rates could go up, refi sit down, we're gonna lay off all you guys, we don't have enough for you guys, you're done, bye. You have no control of that. You can't just take your book and leave because it's their book. For me, I could literally take my business and go to and it sounds so arrogant, and it's not that way. This is how this business is. If you have a business that's productive, then everyone wants you because you're a self-producer. Like if I'm a branch manager and I have a loan officer over here that's doing business and I hire them, it's straight profit. Hey, come over here so I can get your loans. That's really all it is. So now, we have offers. Ask any loan officer that's been in the business for a few years. As our team, I guarantee you they get offers on a weekly basis. Whether it's a text or a call, hey, are you happy where you're at? You want to leave? So to me, I have more control than I ever have in my entire life in my career. I control how I run my business, how my clients are treated, and where my business goes. I'm not controlled by Nova. And if Nova, let's say worst case, Nova went out of business, there's 100 other lenders that'll take me in a heartbeat. And again, not because who I am, I'm not being arrogant, but it's because I have my own business. And if I'm at a credit union or bank and I leave and try to apply, obviously high producers are sought after, but they're going to say, okay, how much business do you bring in? Well, I bring like 1 or 2 deals on my own. And I was just like, well, I'm going to train you and feed you leads, it's like that. So does that make sense? I don't know if I'm going on too long about that, but
no.
To me, I control my own business so that I feel so secure. I've told other loan officers at the credit union just recently, I've had about 7 of them call since I left. And I tell them, you need to just be careful. Rates will not stay down forever. They just won't. They're going to go up eventually. It's inevitable. And when that happens, I can almost guarantee you that loan officers will be laid off in droves. Credit unions and banks. They will, and it sucks. So I tell them, you need to start focusing on your own business because it's going to happen and you need to be prepared for it. Yeah. So I think that they're less secure.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So let's talk about, because again, that's all business security, but why does that matter, right? It really matters because of your family. So how does having business security, how does that impact your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your kids, or your relationship with your extended family?
It has provided financial freedom more than I ever dreamed of. I'm like beyond blessed, like to have this business. Honestly, like I can do it literally whatever I want. I can go to China and work. No one cares. I can Antarctica, whatever. As long as I have Wi-Fi and cell service, I can do my job. That is just the greatest feeling. I'm not like, hang on, I gotta gotta clock in and clock out. I can't leave my desk yet. Hold on. I get a call from my boss. Like, as you can see, I hate that so much in the past. Like,
no, it's true.
So I have freedom, which allows me to spend more time with my family, which enhances all of our relationships. I honestly feel like I have a different energy about myself. I am so much happier and at peace knowing the control that I have, which bleeds into my family relationships. I just feel like I'm better to be around versus before. I was tied down to the man and I hated that. And I was not like I was unhappy, but I was less happy than I was.
Yeah, I think the analogy that I want to bring into this conversation that often gets overlooked is you now know that because you've experienced both sides of it, right? There's a lot of people who haven't experienced what freedom looks like or what control of your time looks like. And so they think, oh, I'm happy, I'm good, but you don't even know what type of husband, wife, spouse, father, mother, son, brother, sister, whatever. You don't even know who you could be without financial stress. You literally don't know how great of a human you could be until you're no longer beholden to somebody else. And that comes in two parts. One, making great income, right? Figuring out a way to consistently create enough and more than enough for your family. But you know, and I know people who they're making higher levels of income, but because they are not doing wise things with it, then they're just as stressed or more stressed because they've increased their lifestyle so much that they're forced to be stressed. Even self-employed people, they're forced to go work so they can maintain their lifestyle. And that's something that you didn't do. You chose, I'm going to be conservative with my lifestyle because I want that level of security. So talk about that decision and why, like, what was your motivation in choosing to remain looking like, and I'm putting in, if you're not watching this on YouTube, but looking like you're not necessarily as financially successful as you are. Like, what's the main motivation in having that level of security in multiple areas of your life?
Because monetary value wasn't, monetary things don't bring a person happiness. They will temporarily. They totally will. I can speak from experience. You get some nice things and you feel great for a little while, but after that, you enjoy it. But that's not like lasting happiness. So like for me, it's like, I just want to be able to be there for my family when I need them in a financial way too, right? There's a spiritual side and physical side, but to me, it's like, man, if my kids need something or my house needs to be paid, I want to know that I can do that for sure without stressing about it. Because stress is so damaging, not just to yourself, but to those people around you. And so I've always been just so like, save, live a lifestyle that we're happy, but be wise about it. There's guys that make way more than I do, but they're swimming in debt. And you can see it. They're not as happy because they spend, and they're just, it piles up very fast. Yeah, they're paying it all the time, but the amount of savings that they're putting away is not nearly as much as what some other people do because of their lifestyle. So that's just, for me, I just want to have a security that can perform when I need to. If my family needs me, if an accident happens, they need money, I want to be there for them. And that just feels really good to know that I'm in that position.
I completely agree. I've seen it for myself. I'm going to ask you to share an experience. You can choose in or choose out of this based on how vulnerable you want to be here. But I think it's a funny story that you shared with me personally. And I think, one, this happens to a lot of people with our mentality of, yeah, we're going to be financially successful, but we aren't necessarily going to broadcast. Okay. So part of that level of like humility or just recognizing what's really important, it's not the display of financial success as much as it is the knowing that I can sleep at night and I can be there for my family, right? There's a difference in how we operate in life, but you may have many stories, you may only have one, I don't know, but share a story of when somebody totally thought you were struggling, so they decided to help you out or ask about your financial well-being when really you're doing better than they are, but they have no idea. And you don't have to use.
You know a specific story?
No, I mean you can share a specific story and share names or not names. I don't know. I don't want to embarrass anybody that was in this story if they ever listen to this. But I think the story is really important for people to really internalize. Okay, there's another area of life that I could get to, and how funny would that be when that happens for me, when somebody comes and offers me something because they think I'm struggling and really it's in reverse. And then how do you humbly take it without being dismissive, you know?
Yeah. Man, dude, there's actually fun. So like, I try to, it's funny, man. I try to like live like I'm poor. No matter how like how much wealth I may accumulate, I try to live like poor. It's weird if that makes sense. I don't like people knowing. It's weird. I'm so weird at that. And so like there's been multiple times. I think we do it too much. My wife's the same way, and her family, like her parents are always reaching out, and my wife and I are like, I think they think we're struggling. And anyways, so we just say thank you. But like, they'll give us meals whenever, like, oh, hey, you need this, and we're like, oh, we're good. Like we appreciate that. We just give those kind of responses. Either thank you so much, or like, no, we're okay. We really appreciate it. But I don't know. I just would rather like have that than like, hey, what up, guys? This is what I have. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And that's what I want to share, because I wanted it to come from you in that circumstance. Yeah. When somebody's reaching out to give you a gift, even if you even if they need the gift, or your perception is they need what they're giving you more than you need what they're giving you, sometimes it's not necessarily about the gift. It's about allowing somebody else to give. And no matter what level of financial success you attain, there's a level of humility, and it's not him sitting there saying, oh, I'm better than this person, so I'm silently judging them as they give me this gift. It's, hey, thank you. We're good. But if you want to give it to me, I'll take it out of respect for them, not out of disrespect or sneering behind the door of like, they think we're pulling the wool over their eyes so good. It's not about that. It's about lovingly accepting gifts and remaining humble. And from my experience of you, Michael, you're very good at that. I haven't really talked to your wife, so I don't know your wife's situation as much, but for you, I've experienced that, where there is that level of humility where it's not, yes, you may have some level of financial success, but you're not flaunting that in people's faces, and you're not refusing charity is a bad word, but refusing gifts from others on a basis of, I have everything I need. I'm an island and I don't need anybody else. No matter how successful you get, there's always need to be charitable and humble at the same time.
Well, it's a two-part for me too. Like, obviously, I'm very religious. So to me, it's like, whatever I have is not because of me. It's, it's from, God or whoever you might believe in. Right. But, that to me, that's the biggest motivation for me too, is like, hey, nothing is mine really. But it's funny you mentioned that, like, just for privacy, I'm trying to think how to word it, but I had a friend who, received an offer. I think it was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was a large portion of food or something, groceries. And, they received a lot from their parents, and not my parents for that. And, so I remember they came up to me and they're like, I don't think I should take this. Like, they are struggling. And I just said, you don't understand. This helps them. You're helping them more. Like, they're happy. Look at their faces. They want to do this. So I said, you may not have to do it every time. I was like, but I promise you, this will bless their lives if you take it, because they'll be happier. So it's like exactly what you said. Like, you have to think about what it does for the other person. Like, service is the best. It's like healing for the soul. And it helps that family when they needed it, allowing them to serve us. Even though we didn't need it for that person, right? It's the fact that they did it and it helped them. Yeah.
I think that's huge. And so think about in your life, you who are listening this, think about in your life how often you refuse gifts, or you refuse compliments, you refuse things from others because either one, you don't think you're good enough for it, or you think you're so good that you don't need it. Like, really ponder on that. And I would suggest thinking, how could you start receiving more? Because being able to receive is a huge mountain that most people have to climb to ever reach success. They have to be comfortable receiving. And the wealthiest people I know in this world are also the most receiving people in this world. They receive compliments. They receive, they're just fine. If you want to take them out to dinner, they're not the first one to jump up and pay or whatever, not because they couldn't, but because they're just fine receiving, right? They're okay with somebody else giving, and learning how to be okay with that it's a skill. For me, I remember, because I grew up poor, what I would consider poor. I remember we were on a tennis trip with our school, and I've been working since I was 11 years old, full time. So I basically had money, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had money. And we went out to dinner after the tennis tournament, and my tennis partner, their mom was going to buy me dinner on our way home. And I was like, no, I don't need your help. I can do it myself, So I paid for myself like some stupid teenage boy, And then I got home and I was joking about it and laughing. And so I told my mom, and I was like, thinking my mom would be proud of me for being the man and being able to support myself and not needing to take charity. And, that I was just way off base. And she sat me down and she's like, Sam, for every person who wants to give, because you want to be charitable, you want to give, you want to be the person, right? For every person who wants to give, there has to be somebody willing to receive. And I was like, I never thought of that really receiving is also giving a gift. It's giving the gift of reception that often gets turned down, often gets rebutted because they don't want to let you give. So anyways, I just think that those are the things that I've seen in Michael, that if you get a chance to reach out to him, to associate with him, to work with him, that's the type of human he is. And he's really good at what he does. He's really good at helping people achieve their goals and their dreams when it comes to getting into the house that they want. But I think that those character elements are what makes people who they are. And that's what I really wanted to highlight. That's why I invited him on here, because it's those small things that I see in him that are like, man, if we could just adopt a little bit of those habits into my life, right? I'm not perfect. I look up to him in these respects because I struggle with it sometimes. Okay. But like, it's those small things that I think we all need to be exposed to a little bit more, and exposed to from people who aren't trying to rub it in people's faces. Because there's those people out there as well. I'm so humble. I'm so receiving. There's lots of those people. I don't want to talk about those people. I want to talk about people like Michael.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm grateful that you're here. So if they wanted to get a hold of you or be part of your venture here, Radcliffe Mortgages, I love it. I love that you're going out and starting your own team. I think it's the coolest thing. How would they get a hold of you if they're in Arizona, moving to Arizona, they're looking for something like that? How would they get a hold of you?
Call my direct 480-272-0845. I tell everyone I'll get back to you the same day. I'm very, very prompt.
Yeah. Even if it's like 11 at night, sometimes that's when he calls me back, but he calls me back.
I will call you back.
He calls me back. That's what's cool, is that he calls me back. So, so anyways, I love that. Please go reach out to him from that perspective, and definitely reach out to him online. I definitely know you're on LinkedIn. That's it.
If you just Google Michael Radcliffe Mortgages or Radcliffe Mortgages, you'll find me.
Okay, awesome. And so this next section is Legacy on Rapid Fire. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you believe is holding you back from reaching the next level of your legacy today?
Fear of the unknown. I think that's always been something I've struggled with. Taking a leap of faith and just trusting it'll work out. Being fearful of failure and, being afraid of not reaching your full potential. You envision what you can do, and it's scary to think that you'll go for it and not get it. So I think fear is a huge thing for me.
Awesome.
Even though I've made leaps of getting there, but I'm always working on it.
Yeah, it can be a challenge sometimes. What's the hardest thing you've ever accomplished?
Gosh, there's so many things. I'm just kidding. Hardest thing I've ever accomplished, like in anything?
Yeah, just anything in life.
Wow. It's funny. I want to say having a family. It's the greatest thing on the entire planet, but it is very difficult. It is very, very difficult. You realize once you start having kids, you recognize very quickly how many weaknesses you have. And it's hard, but it's also the greatest thing on the planet, which I think that's why it's so great, because it is so hard.
Yeah. And I wouldn't trade having family for anything, but you learn something about your behavior, about your language, about all of that when your kids start repeating you.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. So what would you say your greatest accomplishment is up to this point in your life?
Well, outside of my family, I would say having a mortgage team. Like, I almost get emotional even thinking about it. I never thought I'd be here, to be completely honest. And I'm still working, right? I have so much more to grow, but it is just, so humbling to know that I have my own mortgage team. That's so incredible. So yeah, and it took years and years and hours and very late nights to get here, and it'll still take a lot more of those. But
yep, for sure. Those aren't ending anytime soon, right, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say if you had a secret habit, mindset, or behavior that you've adopted into your life that you do consistently, that's guaranteed your success thus far? What would you say that is?
So I'm going to say caring. So here's what I mean by that is, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a caring person. When someone texts me, let's for business, right? They reach out and say, "Hey, Mike, I have a question about a refinance or a home purchase." That's a real person. It's not just a number on a CRM. They're a real person. They have real struggles. They have a family, friends. I mean, they're real, just like me and you. And so I just try to put myself in everyone's shoes. Like, hey, if I text and reach out, I need to reach out and give them the same attention that I would want. And I can tell you right now, without that mindset, I would not be anywhere close to where I am today.
That's incredible. I think I could do better at that as well. Recognizing.
Me too. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's tough.
It's a huge perspective. So if you had like one or two books that you think, hey, these are the best books that I would recommend people read, what would be your top one or two books that have helped you the most?
Man, I wish I knew that. It's called. It's about communication. I can see it's a red book. It's called
Crucial Conversations.
Yes, Crucial Conversation. Wow, way to go. That is the best book on the planet. Communication is the lifeblood of any business. You can be a trash man or doctor or anything, and communication is always the key to anyone's success and happiness, frankly. That's why I love that book. It talks about how to have crucial conversations, how to handle yourself, control your emotions. I think it's imperative. The other one that I read, I'm not going to remember the name. It's a fishbowl, a picture of a fishbowl. It's about, it's another one about controlling your emotions. I'm gonna draw a blank.
I don't know that one.
A second book is Forks and I think it's called Leaders Eat Last. I love that book because it's being a leader, but being humble and just always giving service to others. And when you're a leader, doesn't mean you're at the top. Work for me. It's keeping that mindset as if you're at the very bottom, even though you're a leader. So those, if I had to give you two names, it's Crucial Conversations and Leaders Eat Last.
Awesome. Love it. So this is my final question. It's my favorite question. Really why I started this podcast was to hear the answer to this question. So we're going to assume that you died, you passed on, and we're now 6 generations from now. So this is your great, 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 great grandchildren. They're sitting around the dinner table, chatting about your life, the impact you had, the influence you had, and the legacy you left. What do you want your great, 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 great grandchildren to be saying about your legacy 6 generations from now?
I want them to say that Michael was known to not care about himself, that his attention and focus was always on others. I really want that.
Well, from my experience of knowing you, I would say that that's been my experience with you. So I love that. I think that's awesome. Like I said, I just can't think of somebody better. And it's these little qualities that I've recognized in conversations with you over the last few months that I just really wanted to highlight. Because those are the things. That's what when I think of Michael Radcliffe, it's those qualities that I think of, and those things I think, man, I should probably talk to him more often so I can become a better human. And it's things that I look up to you, frankly, about. So yeah, no problem. I super appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. You could be with your family. You could be doing other things. But I'm grateful that you took the time to be on the show today. And I really hope that people reach out to you, if for no other reason other than connect with a cool human being, and to have an awesome conversation. If you are ever going to move to Arizona, reach out to him. Like, honestly, if he can't help you, which I think is a big if, but if he can't help you directly, then he can point you in the right direction and get the help that you need. And he knows the difference, and he's going to be a person of integrity to help you and tell you what he can and can't do. So I love that. And we'll thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Okay. We'll catch you guys next time on the Fuel Your Legacy show. And always remember that you are worth being remembered. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. If what you heard today resonates with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me. And if you do give me a shout out, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Thanks to all of those who've left a review. It helps spread the message of what it takes to build a legacy that lasts. And we'll catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy.